Okay, in America's Health this morning, we're talking about teens and depression. We all know the teenage years are notoriously a difficult time of life, but how do you know if your children are suffering from typical teenage angst or a more serious condition? As many as 1 in 5 young people experience mental problems. Up to 20% have symptoms of depression. Our Dr. Richard Besser had a no-holds-barred talk with 5 teens whose lives were seriously altered by depression. What they revealed was both heartbreaking and hopeful.
I didn't wake up that day knowing I was going to try and take my own life.
I just would spend hours just crying and having suicidal thoughts.
I ended up cutting to the point that I needed stitches. I don't want anyone to ever have to be in my shoes.
I figured that if I just disappeared, that it would make everything better for everyone else.
Teens have a reputation, moody and angst-ridden. But it may surprise you that 20% of teens experience real depression. That's about 2 million teenagers. What is it like to be depressed during one of the most tumultuous times of your life? I sat down with 5 teenagers for a frank discussion about their experiences.
Francesca, when did you first realize you were depressed?
My whole demeanor had really changed. I was irritable, I was not motivated, I was losing interest in all the things I had previously enjoyed.
A teen's depression is not the same as an adult's. Teens often feel irritable, not sad. Dr. Harold Koplowitz is a child psychiatrist.
So the signs of teen depression is that it lasts for more than 2 weeks, and there's a change in appetite, a change in sleep, a change in concentration, a change in mood, and most importantly, a change in the ability to really enjoy things.
All of a sudden, I was just really tired. It took twice as much energy to get out of bed, like brush my teeth, go do the things I loved.
How long did it take for someone to say, hey, Casey, something's different here?
Towards the end of 8th grade, my sister started noticing that I was wearing long sleeves and like there were cuts on my arms, and we didn't have a cat.
Casey was cutting, literally cutting her skin with sharp objects. It's a symptom of depression.
Many times people do it because they feel the desire to feel alive. They feel so numb from the depression that cutting themselves makes them feel alive.
I ended up cutting to the point that I needed stitches. I didn't want to feel that way. I didn't want to die, but I wanted to feel something other than what I was feeling, even if it was pain.
Like many teens, Casey suffered in silence. The shame in admitting she needed help was too powerful.
For so many conditions, mental health conditions, certainly stigma has been a big barrier for people getting help.
This here is probably the most honest talk that I've been a part of in a long time, and it's a shame because stigma is so strong.
I guess I haven't had the courage to completely just come out and say that I have depression, I guess. It just scares me a little bit how I would be viewed.
There is a lot of resistance to medication, that taking an antidepressant is somehow cheating.
My psychiatrist explained it to me in the best way possible. You're not depending on it just to make you happy. Your brain works differently. And for me, it's difficult for me to do the everyday things that people take for granted. So that pill is making sure that I can do the things that jumpstart my day so that I can do the things that make me happy.
Studies show that early treatment, whether with medication or talk therapy, may prevent further episodes. Remember, depression isn't an attitude a teen is choosing. It's a serious and real brain disorder.
If you broke your arm, you go to the doctor. So if you're depressed, which is an illness, shouldn't you go to the doctor? Shouldn't you get help? Why is it any different? It should be treated the same way because it is an illness.
Maggie isn't depressed, but her brother was. She was 12 when he took his own life in 2003.
Every single day I have to wake up and I don't have my brother. And maybe things could have been differently. So it's not something to be taken lightly, just pushed under the carpet.
It won't go away if you ignore it.
No.
Depression can be hidden, like it was for Maggie's brother. And unrecognized depression can lead to suicide. In fact, it's the 3rd leading cause of death for people ages 14 to 24. Over 600,000 teens make an attempt every year.
I don't think there's anything that is more difficult for people to talk about than suicide. Suicidal thoughts, is it something that you've experienced with your depression? You all have.
The way my emotions used to work is like a rubber band. I could extend for a really long period of time, but when I let go, I snapped.
That's what happened the day his parents found the stash of alcohol he had been hiding.
And so that was the night that I tried to take my own life by going out of my 9-story bedroom window.
It's a miracle that Jordan survived. Along with other major injuries, he shattered his leg and still uses a cane today.
Are you glad you survived?
I feel extremely fortunate to be alive, and that was the first thought in my mind when I woke up. I'm so happy to survive that. I know just what kind of a miracle that is.
There is hope.
If there's one thing that you want people to take away in terms of teenage depression.
If you're having a rough time, or if you're going through rough stuff, you're not alone. I mean, life's hard. You know, I mean, it is what it is, but you may not know about it, but there's so many resources out there, things that can help you out.
Don't be afraid to talk to somebody. You might think it's gonna be scary and there might be bad consequences, but it is so much better to talk about it. Like, getting help is incredibly important. You might be able to get through it yourself, but having that extra support system can save your life.
The good news about depression, it can be treated.
I used to think you could only suffer from depression, because that's what we always say. But I've learned that you can still be successful with depression. You can still help other people, touch other people with depression, and still make a difference and have depression. And that's something I carry with me every day.
Such a powerful message, and we want to thank Families for Depression Awareness for their help on this vital topic. And Rich is here now to tell us more about it. There's so many ways you can go with this, and sometimes you feel like you've gotten it beaten, depression, and it comes back.
That's right. You know, if your child has a major depression, they're at risk. 20 to 40% will have a relapse within 2 years. So you don't want to ignore that. You want to continue treatment.
The 5 people that you interviewed, wow, yeah. Those young people, and Maggie talking on behalf of her brother, as you said, there is hope.
That's right. You know, Maggie, the reason she was on was so that other children don't have to feel her pain. She's very active in her school's Depression and Suicide Awareness Club, and they've even put out T-shirts. Their group, they came up with a word, Aevidum. They made it up from Latin roots, and it means I've got your back. And so kids can wear that shirt and can point to others and say, hey, we support you on this.
And we have a special section on our website devoted to this topic, abcnews.com.